Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Unboxed Live with Drake and Jiles. So today we are firmly back in hi-fi territory, and we're going to be looking at a 8-channel amplifier from Starke Sound USA. So this is the Fiera8, and as you guys know, I've been a huge fan of Starke Sound gear for many, many years now. I have a lot of it in my home theater, so I'm really excited to be able to open up their new flagship amplifier, right? So for the shop.starkesound.com website, these are the ones that that are really kind of taking the world by storm. And I'd like to introduce the producer today, Drake. Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
And Drake will be out there. If there are any comments or questions that come in, he will be popping himself onto the screen and bringing those up. So if you do have questions as we go through this process, feel free to call those out. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into this and take a look and see what we got going on. So I think if we're here on number 2, we can see on the side that we've got the Fiera8 amplifier. It contains one piece. It's got the size, the weight, and it says 21.8 pounds, but man, it is a heavy 21.8 pounds. It's pretty chonky. It's black color. The box looks like it came across in pretty good shape. It was dropped off yesterday on Saturday from, I guess it was FedEx maybe, or I'm not really sure. I don't, what is this? Yeah, FedEx. So there was FedEx delivery yesterday. And it looks like, there's some bumps on the corners. So we'll see how well this survived the trip, but it doesn't look like there are any puncture wounds or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and start cracking into this guy. See what we got. This looks like the roughest point on the box. I like how they have Starke Sound tape, branded tape, and it says "Bold is beautiful," which is their catchphrase. And for folks that don't know, Starke Sound will be at Expona this year, which is the big hi-fi show in Schaumburg, Illinois, that's happening next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's April 11 or 12, 13, 14, something like that, next week. So this gear will be on site there as well. So I'm excited to be able to get my hands on this before the show so I can take a look at it and understand what this thing looks like. All right, so we get the box open. And it's not a box inside of this box, although there is a lot of thick cardboard. Presentation is nice. We have a user's guide for the Fiera8 here on top. And it's a kind of a plasticky paper. Nice, very thick. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Just a few pages with technical specifications. 8-channel Class D amplifier with audiophile sound quality. You see the back, and we'll look at all this stuff in real time here and take a look at the product. Okay. Now let's see if I can pull this up somehow. All right. Yeah, that lifts up. That's super thick. There's a lot of protection there. I like that a lot. Silica, and here we have warranty card with a QR code and a power plug, US power plug. It's 3-pronged, so it is grounded. All right, we will pull this out and then set it to the side and move the box off. Let's see if I can do that. Like I said, this thing is pretty darn heavy. Oof, holy smokes. That is a chunk of metal right there. Okay. Yeah, the box is a lot lighter without that. All right, for folks that are just joining us, we are unboxing the Starke Sound Fiera8 today, and we've gotten through the actual packing, and now we're down to a plastic interior. If you have any questions, if you have any home theater questions, you can feel free to bring those up as we go through looking more closely at this product. All right, now what is going to be the best way to get this out? So, some tape here. Get that corner. Tape down there. So far, it looks like it survived transport in pretty much one piece, which is nice. It's good when the packaging does its job. All right, looks like this is going to end up opening from the front. And I really do like to keep my packing materials pretty pristine, so I don't just go crazy on this stuff and rip all the plastic off. You know, you could just take a pair of scissors and zip through this thing if you wanted to, but I prefer to try and keep things intact. Okay, now that will allow us to slide this out. So let's do this. Woo, that is a chunky front metal plate. I don't know if you can see that from the top down, but that is a solid piece of aluminum. And we're going to bring Drake up on the screen, and he's got a question or a comment for us. So welcome back, Drake.
Richard's Ghostiki says that why don't you use the strong muscles of your son to lift the heavy equipment?
Show us the muscles, Drake. All right. Oh, look at that. It's coming. It's coming. You're right. I should use the strong muscles of Drake. However, I'm using his fine artistic skills from camera operations. So I'm relegated to the heavy duty lifting stuff. But welcome to the show. Any other comments so far? That's it. All right. Well, thank you for the comment. All right, man. This is pretty. Ooh, this feels nice. All right. So let me flip around so you can see the front here, and then if you're looking, so let's grab a top down real quick, and this is probably upside down for you. I've got it upside down for me, but we've got Fiera, Fiera. That is the brand, and this is embossed, stamped into aluminum. It is metal and aluminum, and it looks like it's got hex kind of screws here holding everything together. A nice matte finish. The tolerances look really good on the build, and this front plate looks to be solid aluminum of 1/4 of an inch, and it's beveled. That is really, really nice. I like that a lot. It appears that, so we've got the front plate, then we've got, I'm just feeling here, we have the side plate, screws, and then we got the rear. So now if you come back over to camera 2, we can see on the front here, let me actually angle that so you can get a better view. It's pretty minimalistic, so we don't have any fancy stuff going on. We have the on-off, which this has different color indicators depending on if it's just idle or if it's on, but it's a push button. And then this lights up with green when it's turned on. This is all just nice detail, but you know, it's kind of easy to find this at nighttime, right? So this lights up and you can hit the button for the light. All right, so that's, I think, for the build. And I'm going to flip this up for camera 2, and you'll be able to see the bottom, and we're going to have 4 feet, and I won't see it, but you guys can see whatever that looks like underneath there. So that's the bottom of the unit. All right. We'll come back around, and Drake, if you can zoom in on that as close as you can, I'm going to walk around, and we'll talk about the rear of this guy. So this guy's 8-channel, and if you look, we've got the input section, and that's labeled inputs, and it's circled to make it very obvious. We have outputs, and then we have other stuff. The cool thing is that on each input side, you've got XLR and RCA and a switch between the two. Now, it might just seem obvious, okay, you can pick one or the other, but what you can actually do if you want is you could cable both XLR and RCA for any channel from different devices, and then just flip the switch if you wanted to choose between the two different inputs, right? So you could have two whole different systems running through this. Now, to make the change, you obviously would need to get back here and flip these switches, right? But it's doable. It is possible. This is, a completely analog system. So, there's nothing going on back here from a digital perspective. So there's no like external control or anything like that. But, you can get to the manual controls and do that quite easily. Here on the output side, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of positive and negative speaker cables. And these are 5-way binding posts. So you can use banana plugs here, and then there's a hole all the way through. So you can use spades or raw wire, whatever you would like from that point of view. Over here, you've got your power switch, the AC input, and this is 110 to 120 volt. And then what I think is really super important for home theater use, and really for 2-channel now, I really like to have this feature too, is your trigger in and trigger out, right? So trigger in would come from your processor or your AVR. And then what's really nice is you have this trigger out. So if you had 2 or 3 or 4 amplifiers that you need to string together, you plug the input here, and then this goes down to your next device. So when this one senses the 12 volt, it turns on and then sends the 12 volt trigger on to the next device. So it really allows you to have one control to kind of rule them all for a number of amplifiers. All right, and Drake, I think we have another comment.
Sci-Phonics Audio says, nice cameras and control. Happy to see a good team at work.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And, this is to get a little touchy-feely here on Cam 1. It's really nice to be able to do this with my son. It's fun to have a family event where we can get together. And tell you what, having somebody do all of the control work on the back end makes it so much easier because I can kind of keep my train of thought a little bit better. We're still working out the process, but so far so good. The next piece of this really is, Drake, what do you think? You've seen me unbox a lot of stuff. Does anything jump out to you about the form of the product? I know we haven't tested it yet to get to the function of the product, but what do you think? Was it pretty? Anything to say about it?
It looks similar to the other ones you have in the basement. And
yeah,
just very minimalistic design.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Minimalistic is a good word, but I don't like to confuse the concept of kind of a minimalistic design for a simple product, right? Because this isn't a simple product. This is very good at what it does. And I've got the Fiera8, right? So I've got the 4-channel version of this. And what I plan to do is take the Fiera8 and the Fiera8, put these together, and that gives you 11 channels. And I'm going to test this out both with Trinov processor. That's right. Yep, Trinov and Starke sound. And Onkyo as well. So we'll see how that works. But this is going to go into rotation in the home theater downstairs. Now, if you want to see this one in action, my understanding is that it will be at Exponent. I don't know if they're going to be using this or not because they're not going to do a multi-channel setup there. They will be doing a 2-channel setup, and the Fiera8 will for sure be in process. We have another comment.
All right, 2 more comments. Sci-Phonics Audio says, did they change the binding posts on both models of AMP away from the beryllium types? And Richard Zagosaki says, what exactly are those other inputs on the back?
Okay, so let's get back to the back and we'll look over this stuff. So Drake, I think maybe you can zoom in on camera 1 for this, or camera 2 maybe. Yeah, camera 2. So, I don't know what the material type is. On the older Gen 1 of these, I think this is Gen 2 or Gen 3. This was it didn't have like the plastic sheath on top of the metal. It was more of a gray colored knob, and they were brilliant. Let's look and see if it calls anything out in the instructions. but I don't know off the top of my head what the material is for those. Yeah, it doesn't call out, just says 8 pairs of binding posts. It uses their NS600 amplifier module and their SAPS power module. And then the vertical light on the front that I showed you before is green when it's on. Yellow is, I guess, power off, or maybe yellow is a warning Will Robinson color, but green is the normal. Yeah, I don't see any detail, and I don't know off the top of my head the material, so I don't know the answer to that question that isn't covered in here. Now, I think Richard asked, Drake, what was Richard's question?
What exactly are those other inputs on the back?
Okay, so we have 2 sets of inputs for each channel, and you can see them here. There's pairs for each one, and there is a XLR input and an RCA input. So this is just 2 different kind of cabling styles. You see the XLR in either higher end consumer equipment or pro grade equipment. So what happens is this cabling is a signaling cable, just like the RCA. However, the RCA cable is a 2-pole or 2-conductor cable, and the XLR is a 3-conductor cable. And supposedly the RCA, or the XLR cables rather, XLRs, are able to have less noise over longer runs as opposed to the RCA. These also have like a locking kind of connector. So once you click them in to get them back out, you push the button to pull them out. So in pro situations, it's not as important in home theater or in 2-channel music, but it's nice to have those cables nice and locked in and seated in there, and you know they won't work themselves out over time. I highly prefer using XLR, and that's not because of any kind of sound quality differentiation that I've discovered with them. It's really simply because I like to use the cables better. I think they're also nicer looking and easier to deal with. As I said before, you can cable up 2 different inputs into each channel and then select here. For my use, though, I'll just plug in XLR into all of these and then flip this over to the XLR side. On the output side, of course, there's just one amplified set of wires for each cable. So positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, so on and so forth. All right. So, and as Drake said, oh God, they match up with the Fiera8 quite nicely, and I will be, like I said, stacking these. I'll have a Fiera8, Fiera8 for that 11 channels. Yeah, we have some more comments from Drake over here.
Symphonic Audio says, maybe that's what happened. Version to version, it changed. That's good. BE makes it more cost efficient for little benefit. Wait, BE makes it cost more for little benefit.
Yeah, so that would be the beryllium. Where I think you really get a lot of benefit out of using that material is really in diaphragms for tweeters, because it's a very rigid material, and you see those in Focal speakers. You also see them in Starke Sound speakers on their higher end stuff. Not using soft domes, but rather using those really rigid metal speaker domes. Gosh, I think we're coming to the end. If there are any final questions, make sure to get those in. But like I said, you can see this gear live next weekend at Expona in Schaumburg, Illinois. These can be purchased from the shop.starkesound.com website. Starke Sound does have a line of products that they offer direct to consumer, and that includes the Fiera amplifiers and the SW subwoofers. Yeah, go ahead, Drake. More.
Percy Bedford says, which would you prefer, Class D or Class A and B?
That really is a kind of a subjective kind of question. I have completely migrated over for home theater to Class D amplification. And the amplifiers that I have downstairs right now, so from Starke Sound, are Class D. The Trinov Amplitude 16 is a Class D amplifier. I've got another brand amp that is just the Acurus M8. That is Class D amplification. So everything there is Class D amplification. I have a Class AB older amplifier, and it's fine too. I prefer the slightly lower weight sometimes out of the Class D, but the less heat really is important for me in a home theater amplification scenario. So I'm pretty much done with anything except Class D in multi-channel scenarios. For Class A, B stuff, if you're going to do 2-channel and you have open space where you can have humongous amplifiers out there, if you prefer that sound, I say have at it. And keeping in the theme of Starke Sound will have a Class A, B 3-channel amplifier, their A3 amp, on display at the show at Expona. And I actually have a version of that downstairs too that I quite like, but I wouldn't want to keep it in a situation where it can get hot. What's next?
Joey Alcock says, would love multi-channel DSP 4 object-based RO 3D immersive / Atmos setup. Unfortunately, circumstances beyond my control. My income is limited because I'm a disabled person with a breathing-related illness.
No, I totally hear you. So the DSP really is the magic that pulls all this stuff together. And typically, you're going to see that happen upstream from your amplifier. So that'll be in your AVR or your processor. And downstairs, I've got a number of different ones. The Trinov is live now. I'll be upgrading an older Storm unit to new components in a video that I'll make one day sometime. And then, we just unboxed the Onkyo a couple of weeks ago, and that review will be coming out here pretty soon as well. But all of that technology is really, really good. The decoding, so the RO3D or the Atmos from Dolby, whichever you prefer, or whatever really is on the disc, right? Or your source file if it's coming from Kaleidoscape, that kind of thing. And the amp's purpose really is just push that power, right? Sometimes you'll see DSP for crossover and phase and that kind of stuff, but these are pure analog units. This Fiera8, so it doesn't do any processing to the sound. It's just the input amplifies, pushes it out, and you get that sweet sonic goodness. All right, I think that's going to bring us to the end. Drake, pull yourself back up. Any closing thoughts for everybody?
It's a very simple looking.
Very simple looking, very straightforward. Yeah, I agree. And Drake, now you need to learn the next thing. Thanks for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Do it. Thanks
for watching. Hit that. Oh, wait. Richard Zagosi says, what type of amps are in the Onkyo and Marantz Cinema 4D AVRs?
I would have to look to be sure, but I believe it's all Class D. That'd be my guess. Maybe not. Don't hold me to that because I'm just off the top of my head trying to remember, but I would assume that it's Class D. It could be AB, certainly not A. 100%. It's not going to be a maybe AB, but most gear in AVRs now is all Class D. Go ahead, Drake.
Symphonic Audio says it's AB.
Is AB in which one?
The AB 10s, 11 CHs is D, I think.
Okay, right on. Cool. Yeah, thanks for the detail. Vast majority of things will be D, but I suppose if you get to some of their higher end stuff and the new Marantz high end stuff, maybe that is all coming out AB now. Marantz, if you're out there, let's figure out something. I'd love to bring one of those devices on and talk about it a little bit and figure it out and show everybody the Marantz way. I've heard a lot about Onkyo and Primaire and Storm and Trinov, but I haven't heard so much about Marantz recently, so I would love to cover that a little more in depth. All right, Drake, is that taking us to the end?
Yep.
All right, folks. Again, thank you so much for watching. Remember, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things.